Some people were chasing me to the watching show. I didn't forget. Welcome to that. Or maybe they weren't people, but fuzzy black blots with a hellish landscape in the background. A endless hellish landscape. I ran, stumbling over something, having no air to breathe. My whole essence was overtaken by primal fear and terror. I need a mouse to make sure that I'm not able to skip this. But I don't. Nope, I guess not. Then a memory lapse. I opened my swollen eyelids only for my eyes to be struck by bright daylight. A terrible taste in my mouth, pains all over my body, a severe headache. It was a good night. Someone was drinking hard yesterday. After coming to my senses, I started to recall the events of last night. I believe there was a bottle of vodka, which I happily emptied together with Alisa. I tried to stand up, but something was pinning my left arm. It was the peacefully snoring Alisa. Everything that happened returned to my mind. Fear was quickly replaced by a feeling of euphoria. I relaxed lazily on the bed, enjoying a beautiful hungover morning. Sometime later, Alisa woke up. I kissed her softly and said, "Good morning." She gave me a blank look for a couple seconds and then jumped up shouting, You. Me what?
Yesterday you...
She hissed. But it was kind of your idea.
I was drunk.
So was I. What can you do? Alisa was furiously looking at me, but then calmed down and sat beside me.
All right, whatever happened, happened.
You sure? I got up and tried to hug her.
Don't.
She whispered, blushing. Why?
Because
Alisa frantically shook her head.
Because it's 4 o'clock already.
What? In the afternoon? How did no one follow up on this? And what? Don't tell me you're late for something.
Everyone will leave without us.
Leave where? Dumbass.
Today's the last day.
The last day of what? I asked, completely confused.
The last day of the term.
What? The hangover that seemed to have already passed a while ago made a sharp comeback.
Don't tell me you didn't know.
Alisa asked Alisa in surprise. So you did know it?
Well, yes, but I'd forgotten it somehow.
And what should we do now? Actually, that wasn't the main thing I was concerned about. If today is the last day, then everyone will go somewhere, so I can get out of this camp somehow.
Well, I have no idea.
Maybe we could still make it. I jumped out of the bed and started dressing quickly. It was difficult as my coordination was badly disturbed by yesterday's lavish indulgence. What are you waiting for? Alisa didn't reply, but started dressing too. A couple of minutes later, we were standing at the deserted square. Let's go to the camp leader's cabin. Why? After opening, no one's there. We checked the entire camp and found out that we were alone there. After returning to the square, I sat down and covered my face with my hands like a doomed man. I still felt sick, but now it turned out that I had to solve a serious problem. Where would they have gone?
Well, to the district center, I guess.
Do you know where it is?
Approximately.
Is it possible to reach it on foot?
Don't know.
And how long would it take on a bus?
Couple of hours.
Quickly, I reckoned how the kilometers. Taking into consideration the quality of the Soviet motor car industry and Soviet roads, one could presume that it was quite possible to reach it on foot. Provided that Alisa knows the exact direction. Moreover, in my situation, it's not easy to decide on such steps, but we can't stay here either, alone without food in a deserted pioneer camp. In real life, it would be a definitely bad idea, and I had no other choice but to treat everything happening as reality.
That was bad grammar. It would be a definitely bad idea.
Was that me or the game?
If it was, yeah, the game said that.
Okay.
But it would technically be, you would say,
Not
it
that.
would definitely be a bad idea. Or you would say it would be a definitively bad idea. But it
Yes.
said a definitely. Anyway. Where?
To the district center.
Where are you mad?
Where are you, man? You prefer to stay here?
Sure don't notice when they return.
Don't you think it's odd that they didn't notice during departure?
Well, yeah, but-
She started to think.
But does it go so we're all on our own?
But you said you know the direction.
I do.
She agreed without confidence. So what's there to think about? Maybe we'll encounter some local buses on the way. I don't really believe that myself, but there is an exit from this camp. This idea seems quite solid.
I don't know, as you say.
She prattled on confusedly. Then start packing your stuff. Meet me here in half an hour. I ran told her with Miss Kevin. Jeez, so often. Yes, not so much to pack. I tossed my warm clothes into a bag, and I was about to go when an interesting thought crossed my mind. What would I actually need them for? It doesn't seem to be a late summer, so what's the point of dragging unnecessarily way too long? Especially since I don't know how far I have to walk. After reasoning that no one could survive such weather without coat and warm boots, I shoved my cell phone with its dying battery into my pocket and went to the square. I had to wait at least 20 minutes for Alisa. My hangover seemed to ease a little so I could better focus on the previous night. What does she really mean to me? Was it just drunken sex or something more? Naturally, I can't speak for Alisa. It's difficult even to speak for myself. I began to remember the course of my acquaintance with her, how she teased and mocked me at first, her arrogance and self-confidence. It was more It was more than compensated for by the tenderness of last night. It was already clear that she is not the person she wants to seem like. But what kind of person is the real Alisa? And do I have any feelings toward her? I do feel sympathy, a sort of affection, but is there something more? My reflections were interrupted by Alisa.
Here, take it.
She held out the huge backpack to me. What's this? I asked skeptically.
My stuff.
Why so little?
I brought as much as I could fit.
Look, we don't know how far we have to go. Maybe you can only take the most necessary things.
So what? I just have to throw it away, leave it here?
Alisa sniffed. Firstly, I was not the sniff I was expecting. Firstly, I couldn't understand why she even has that much stuff. And secondly, what's so valuable in there? But the chivalrous duty of carrying it is mine, isn't it?
Of course.
She smiled archly. I evaluated how much it would weigh. About 10 kilos, I guess. I can carry that for a few kilometers, but not much further after that. You do understand that we'll not get very far with it.
Well, we'll do our best.
You mean I can throw something out later?
We'll see.
She answered with her eyes flashing slyly. Okay, I'm taking you at your word. After all, as I have to carry it, I have the right to throw things out of it. And so our journey began. This is an old picture. It took me at least an hour to start getting tired. I would have thought that I possessed such stamina. Either the backpack was easy to carry or last night's exercises had trained my muscles. I stopped on the roadside and threw Alisa's belongings on the ground.
What are you doing?
She was clearly resentful. Do you want to carry it yourself?
Of course not.
In that case, I need to rest.
Did you see your hair?
Yeah, I noticed it now. Naturally, the most rational decision was to get rid of most of the stuff, keeping only the most necessary things, but I couldn't bring myself to such drastic measures. You've been keeping silent the whole time, Alisa started. Alisa was staring vacantly down the road that receded into the distance.
What is there to talk about?
Don't know, but you're behaving as if nothing happened.
Did something happen?
She asked absentmindedly. Well, you know.
Had enough rest? Yeah, let's go.
Alisa began to quickly walk away from me. Hey, wait a minute. I shouldered the backpack and ran after her. That was like 15 seconds rest. Thanks. We've been traveling in silence for some time with Alisa slightly ahead and behind me. I had no idea how to start the conversation. She seems to be giving out obvious hints that the night's events were one big mistake. At least it seemed so to me. Though from my point of view, what happened was meant to happen. The last few days in the camp, I'd definitely been attracted to Alisa, and I believe she was attracted to me as well. In that case, what's the problem? Maybe she doesn't want it to be just a one-night stand? You know, she turned and looked at me. If I did something wrong...
You did nothing wrong.
But
this is turned out this way.
New music. So it was just an accident?
I didn't say that.
Then what did you say? My inability to get a straight answer made me begin to lose my temper, and I raised my voice. You're just giving me hints, ambiguities. What about straightforwardness? That's a fun word. Sincerity. You weren't like this before.
People tend to change.
She changed into an apparition. She slowly paced forward. Change? You call this change? You're a completely different person now, just like Lena, really. Oh
gosh.
Alisa stopped but didn't turn. Yeah, triggered.
Don't compare. Got it? Don't compare me with her.
She spoke quietly, but there was rage in her voice.
What?
I said, it seems somewhat taken aback.
You blame me for everything, but what about yourself? You're constantly looking at her. Even now, you managed to see her in me.
Wait, what?
Why did you come yesterday then? You could have gone to her, Did know.
Did know what?
I did know that I was waiting for you.
It seems that making this confession was a hard decision for Alisa, but at first I assigned little significance to her words. Well, you yourself told me to come yesterday, so
This isn't about that.
Alisa burst into sobs and covered her face with her hands. I was completely taken aback. I still didn't get what she was hinting at, so it was impossible to talk normally. Sorry, forgive me.
Stop apologizing.
But if I said or did something wrong...
So what's the point in apologizing? If you already did, better to behave yourself from the beginning.
But I don't know how. Alyssa looked up at me. There was so much thought in her gaze that I couldn't bear it and turned away. We stood like that for some time. Soon she seemed to pull herself back together.
Okay, forget it. Let's move on.
You are like Lena. Naturally, I couldn't forget it, even if I wanted to, but I had nothing to say, so I followed her in silence. Oh, that's nice. I think it's the first time I've done that.
We stood in the same spot until it was dark.
Yeah.
You can tell, right? It's the same spot.
Look how far we made it. In time, the sun was slowly moving behind the horizon. I was immersed in thoughts and even forgot about the heavy backpack on my back. I had to say something, do something. Alisa is expecting me to, at least a few words.
Alisa,
Hi.
you are who I have to do. I mean,
yeah.
Sorry.
I'd gotten used to everything in my life being quite simple. Any task seemed to be already finished only after a few steps. Instead of considering the long way to my goal, I immediately started to think about the results, enjoying an unachieved victory. Moreover, I doubt I'd have time to face this like this in the real world. Obviously, for a long time, I dreamed about a person who would care about me, but right now, such person in front of me is yet I feel nothing. And I can't tell us a yes or no because I don't know what will happen next. Meanwhile, I got dark. I guess we should make camp for the night.
There's not that much left to go.
You sure? And even if that's so, it's better to travel during the daytime.
You know best.
She answered coldly. We stopped at the edge of the wood. Got anything useful in there? I pointed to the backpack. A whole bunch of sex toys and like things that we don't need.
Yeah. Have a look.
Mainly footwear and clothes were there, but at the bottom I found a magazine, a box of matches, quite enough to light a fire. So we're gonna light the magazines, I guess. He looks like, minus the blank face, he's summoning like a fireball. Like, oh man, it looks too mage-ish.
Hadouken. Yeah.
Hadouken. So we're sitting on the fallen tree and warming our hands by the fire. Only now did I finally realize that I'd finally gotten out of that damned camp.
I was waiting to do that one at the same time. Yeah.
I kind of messed it up.
That's okay.
I'd found no answers. On the contrary, everything had became even more tangled as, I guess. I am to spend the rest of my life in this reality. If I don't take into consideration all the sci-fi stuff, it's clear that I'm somewhere in the middle of the end of the 80s. And, more importantly, why I was brought here is not so important now, as I have to somehow adapt. And I ought to begin with the girl sitting by my side. So, what will we do when we reach the district center?
Call our parents. What else?
Alisa smiled slightly. She had someone to call. And then
it's all over.
Meaning?
Well, we'll leave for our homes.
I wasn't really surprised by that answer. I just hadn't thought about what would happen after the term ended. And that's it?
What else is there?
I don't know. After all that happened.
But nothing happened at all.
She told me merrily. What do you mean nothing happened?
You'll have a chance to find Lena.
I was surprised, but Alisa said it absolutely kindly. As if I need Lena.
I wouldn't be so sure.
And I am sure. Let me decide for myself.
Yes. When did you start to do such silly things?
I suddenly remembered my current age. 17 years ago.
Well admit. Admirable. But to be honest, I didn't notice anything like that.
What exactly should you have noticed?
That you were able to say something without a single doubt?
She was absolutely right on this point. No, she's wrong. What exactly do you want to hear?
You know what?
This game of hints could last forever. If you want to know how I feel towards you, then I'll speak frankly. I don't know.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Alisa turned away. What can I do? It's the truth.
And what can I do?
I didn't ask anything of you.
Yes, are you sure?
Sure, I answered after a while.
And what were you doing all 7 days in the camp?
What was I doing?
You were asking, weren't you?
What was I asking for? For what reason? Can't you talk in a way that people can understand? The mind readers are on vacation.
If you wanted to, you would understand.
Can't understand without explanation. See how it rhymes with vacation? I'm rhyming right now.
It's okay. It's just idle talk.
She stood up and went toward the road. No way! I lost my temper completely, so I jumped up, ran up to her in a couple of strides, grabbed her, and pulled her towards me. Oh!
Yes! Yeah!
I love when jokes come to life.
Yes!
Oh my god.
We manifest this.
We willed the joke into existence.
Yes! Same exact picture. It's so great.
If they didn't want me to laugh at it, they shouldn't have copied and pasted the answers.
Nope.
All right. But I had miscalculated the amount of strength I should use. Fell to the ground with Alisa lying beneath me.
What, yesterday wasn't enough? Want more?
Her face was glowing and her eyes were flashing. I really
Activating boomerang return mode. She's an automaton too. Oh.
Automaton?
Yeah.
I really felt mixed up. I released the girl's hand, but it didn't stand up at once. I just want to understand, where did I go wrong?
You're always thinking that you went wrong somewhere.
Because you think so.
Who told you that? I didn't.
But I can see it.
You see everything, don't you? You see and draw conclusions that you should interfere, that you should lie low, say nothing.
I draw conclusions based on logic.
Are you sure that logic of yours is correct?
I didn't know how to say anything to say about that. For some time, we just lay there. I was completely confused, and it seemed like Alisa didn't want to continue our conversation. Oh, it's so hot. Finally, she pushed me away and stood up.
Why are you here now with me?
Because everyone left the camp, we stayed.
I'm not talking about that.
Well, because I like you. Wait, remember 5 minutes ago I don't know how I feel about you? Well, whatever. I'm flippant as fuck. Finally, I dared to say it directly.
Are you sure? And what about Lena? She was always next to you. Maybe it's she's too. Wait, look. Maybe it's she's too much work. What?
Maybe it is. She is. Maybe they should have said maybe it's that. That would have been
maybe
better.
it's she's too much work. And what about me? I'm very simple. Just snap your fingers and I'm on your bed.
I'm in your bed.
On it.
Not on.
I'm in it.
She's in the sheets, dude.
I'm in your bed.
She's saying. She said.
But it was your bed. He starts arguing for the wrong things.
I wouldn't say it was that simple with her. Don't put words in my mouth.
You say nothing, so there's plenty of room there. But you think for a dozen others.
Well, she was absolutely right on that point. I didn't think anything like that.
So do I have to just simply believe all this?
You don't have to believe. I'm not forcing you, but it's the truth. So I'm not going to make anything up.
Words should be proven with actions.
What action is she expecting from me? Well, we could do it again. I said with a stupid smile. I had no idea how I even dared to think of joking in such a situation, especially a joke like that.
Sure, come on.
Alisa said in a calm voice.
Oh, wow, she's just going with it. That's funny.
Yeah. Walked through the fire and started to undress. I jumped up, ran to her and grabbed her arm. What are you doing? Wait, I didn't mean like that.
Well, what's the big deal? Don't you need me just for that?
Well, of course. Of course not. You got me all wrong.
How should I get you then?
Arguing so much. She
pretty
pulled
bad.
her arm free and started crying. I lay down beside her, hugged her, and started patting her head. Ugh, everything is all right. Stop it.
Leave me alone.
She said through the tears, but didn't try to free herself.
That was weird.
Jesus.
That's weird.
It's like the writer went, no, they haven't been through enough yet. Let's just go back and forth some more. You see, I had a hard life before this camp. I just haven't got used to this. I don't know how to act in a situation like this. I've been alone for a long time. No friends. No one loves me. I'd forgotten how to feel love. It's hard for me. It's so much easier to get mixed up in those matters. Finally, it just became normal not to, and here we are, something I could never have imagined. It doesn't mean that I'm not an egotistical bastard. Although I guess it just seems that maybe I am. I can't do that right away. Alisa didn't reply and continued crying. But I know one thing for sure. There's nothing between me and Lena. She's a friend. She's a friend. No, she's not. She's a friend. You don't even know her. I never looked at her that way. Only her boobs. Never for who she was as a person. That's bad, but it's also funny. And I need you, not only for what you think I want, which I do, but not just that. I just don't know how to tell you the things that you want to hear that carry obligations, you see. I'm in a kind of situation now where I don't even know what will happen next hour. And here, Alisa seemed not to be listening to me at all, or my excuses didn't reach her. Well, I should be proud of myself. I made a girl cry. And which girl? Alisa, who at first glance seemed to be a complete stranger to any romantic feelings. You know, I can't make this decision for both of us. I can only say for myself that I really need to be with you to support you, to protect you. But why do you need me? I have nothing in my soul. I don't know. God.
That's true. Hey, that's actually true.
It's true. I have nothing in my soul. Oh, okay.
And I don't know what I want. That's true.
Besides, I am here now, but tomorrow I might be gone. You know that song, Cotton Eye Joe? Let's just stop crying for a moment. Like you mentioned Cotton Eye Joe, and
I'm Cotton Eye Joe.
That speaks to her.
You don't know where I came from or where I'm going to go. But if it hadn't been for me, you'd be married a long time ago.
You know that song, Cotton Eye Joe? I'm Joe. And where did he go? Where do I need to go? I'll tell you where I need to go. I need to go to you. She's like, really?
Don't you know that I already made that decision a long time ago?
Then she looked at me with teary eyes. I might have seen happiness in them for a moment. Alisa embraced me tenderly and kissed me. I'm confused. It was the best kiss of my entire life. No, it wasn't as passionate as the one last night, but there was so much tenderness, trust, and love that I just dissolved in her lips, in her arms. I forgot about everything. About the camp, about my...
I'm dissolving!
About my past life before.
It hurts!
She was all that I need now and forever. Oh! It'd be funny if that happened. We were boning. This kiss might have lasted forever, but suddenly a horn suddenly sounded nearby, as if from inside by a
My brain.
Thank you. I turned to the road inside us. An old Laos. It turned like a legged Laos. I like that better. We just lay and looked at it for some time. We're laying down. Soon the driver left the bus and shouted at us, "A new voice!
Hey, lovebirds! Is this the last bus in town? You coming? Shall we go?"
Alyssa said merrily. We jumped up. I grabbed my backpack, took Alyssa by the hand, and ran to the bus. In a couple of seconds, we made ourselves comfortable in the back seat. The driver was shouting something from his place, but I didn't listen to him. Hey, you guys ever?
What are you doing?
You can do whatever you want.
Never listen to that song, Cotton Eye Joe.
Yes, but it's like
Let
really.
me tell you what, I
have some theories about what happened in his when he was married.
So first of all, I'm thinking, who is this guy, and why is he preventing people from getting married?
Here it is, a rescue. You keep going. Here it is, a rescue ship heading
Just
for a
bizarre
new
to
life.
me
I looked at Alyssa, who was so eager to say
that,
something, to
ruin all
continue the
these
conversation by the fire.
relationships and
She was sleeping peacefully,
Anyway,
resting her head on my
you
shoulder.
guys
I
had
didn't
a
want to
good
wake
trip.
up. There was no need.
I
We had no
recushioned
such
the
time
States
ahead of us.
recently. I got a
There was no one in the
contractor
bus
to
except
come
us.
in
The bus
here
was
and
going fast, leaving behind
just
nothing
work
in
the
previous
seats
lives for the
there,
week to spend the entire
it was
pancakes on
about
Soviet.
$1,200
I went through
worth.
more during these
I
7
thought
days,
that's
but throughout the
way
years
too
of my real
expensive
life,
for
and how much
cushions
was
for
still
a
lying ahead in the
bus, but
future. They come
when
on the
you think
country,
about it,
seemed
there's like
window with much
36
interest.
seats
I was
for
just
you,
watching
and
Alyssa
if
sleeping
they're
peacefully.
thin
My
people,
heart
they
was
could
filled with
probably
warmth
fit
and
like
calmness,
50
and my
or
head finally
60.
stopped bursting with thoughts.
That's least.
I love that stupid crap. But happiness is a fragile matter. Many things.
You're
can
gonna have to
destroy
listen
time
to
for
that later.
You're like, what was this?
Yeah, what is he saying?
You know what I'm saying, but I need to hear what you're saying.
Well,
'Cause you can read what I'm saying, but
Right,
for
right.
you have to listen.
Right.
The longer your happiness
I bet you'll
lasts,
laugh.
yeah, the more common it becomes. Emotions dull, new problems and worries appear. It felt good, but the accumulation. I gotta go fast. We want to finish this because we're almost done here.
Okay, yeah, do the.
It felt. I'm gonna not go super fast, but fast. It felt good, but the accumulated exhaustion did let me enjoy the moment. I fell asleep.
You want to trade off?
If I have to, yeah.
Okay.
Like when I go and I get tired, like I give it to you. Day. Right. Here we go.
Day
This
ellipsis.
is the last one.
This is the end.
The real end, it's about as ending as it's gonna be. It seems I'm getting old. The day was over, and did this arrow change color? Oh, because it's real life. I think.
Oh, cool.
The day was over, and the hangover should have been long gone, but I still felt sick and dizzy. Despite how hard I tried, I was unable to keep my eyes open. I just rolled over and wondered what awaits in the district center. How am I to live? Maybe it's not all that bad. Well, sure, I don't know where to begin, but on the other hand, this world doesn't seem hostile. I know a lot of things here. Everyone speaks Russian, so maybe nothing bad is going to happen. Suddenly, I felt very sick. Damn it. I thought it was all gone by yesterday evening. I managed to reach the toilet, moving instinctively. After some time when my dirty business was done, I returned to the room, and then I realized... I'm back in my old flat. However, it's not so old. It seems that nothing has changed during the week of my absence. The dust layers hadn't even grown thicker. The keyboard position, monitor incline, the stain from the cup of tea in my stunning eyes. Theoretically, a man in my condition shouldn't need no such details, but the entire room drew my attention to the most minor of details, and as if I was walking in different colors. The socks were thrown around in exactly the same manner as they had been before. The blanket sat rumpled up and down my bed as if it was before. The dirty window showed the same view of the street like a cracked telescope. In vain, I tried to become terrified or at least scared. Maybe it's a shock effect, post-traumatic stress disorder, or something like that. After all, several hours ago, I wasn't even thinking about returning to the real world. The Pioneer Camp, all girls, Alisa, the mythical district center where I would have arrived hadn't been woken up by my flight. This said just for me in my fantastic vacation. So fun was just a dream. My feet started to pick up circles around the room. I held my hand behind my back and started to think everything over. Only one thing is ever clear. I've returned suddenly. I arrived there without any reason or logic. Maybe there was some sort of explanation, but it's beyond my human comprehension. Supposedly we're going to end up with Alyssa in this real world now, right? Because the past two, we ended up with them, whether it was real or not real. We had a long life with them.
I don't know.
I kind of want something different, but I don't know what else I could possibly get. Whether it was a trick by interstellar forces or a supreme mind, a government experiments, I believe the last one to be the least likely. They left no clues. I was unable to find answers in the camp. I would be foolish to expect things to become clearer here. It's like searching for evidence in a house that has been burned to ashes. Even if crime was committed, all the evidence was destroyed by fire. Maybe if I had the skills equipped in criminologists, I could find something.
Oh my gosh, breathe. You're doing good, but breathe. Breathe.
The memories of the week spent in the camp are all I've got, but it wasn't a dream. I knew it for sure. My hangover was absolutely real. My feelings and emotions were genuine, not just stuff in my dreams. Therefore, I've been there. I spent a week in the Soviet pioneer camp with the camp leader and the pioneers.
Thanks for letting me talk
with
to
Alisa.
you up. I've
Memories
been
of our
told
made
I
me
could
sad.
talk for a while.
It would have been a great leave with her. Wait a
Anyway,
minute.
you guys have
What's
been
wrong
a
with
pleasure.
you? I should be glad I returned home to
You
the
know
real
what?
world.
You
Or
have a
shouldn't
bathroom, maybe.
For now, I
up in
just
your
couldn't defend the
flat.
situation reasonably. I
I've
couldn't
been
understand why
holding
I
it
wanted
all
to
the
stay
way
here and enjoy
since
myself
some,
on
you
the
know,
return. I noticed a 5-ruble coin.
really
with me.
gotta go. I got
We could toss
irritable bowel
a number
syndrome,
of heads
so...
and tails a long time ago.
Oh, you're
Maybe the
such a
school,
dog.
school
Going
I
in
heard
there.
an infinite number of coin tosses and probabilities are not equal to 50% each. Maybe it's because the coin doesn't have a pressure shape. However, after some time I counted 70 heads and 71 tails.
Bring
So
it
all
on!
but I am not meant to judge. I don't know much about it. I
Bring
recall my
it
child when I handled
on!
those tails for the first time. For some reason, it always made me think of squirrels. Maybe there's something watching. I'm about to trade off with you because I know
Oh, thank you.
I'm about to trade because I know he's not going to stop anytime soon.
Okay.
So I'm going to speed up as fast as I
Thank you
can.
so much.
Maybe there's some logic in this. The squirrel doesn't have a tail.
Oh, you're going to have to get yourself more toilet paper.
Speaking of squirrel coming down frequently in the head. He's talking nonsense. Squirrel is so well. You
I got it.
This is tough. There's such rubbish. On the other hand, it's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. What can we do?
We're gonna do what is under control via that bottom. Trying to find the answer in the week there will be the point of thinking. No, maybe I should try go back to my ordinary life. If words ordinary life were painful to me, why did I choose that specific word? I could have said past or former or something else. I guess because it was what I was used to. It was most obvious than ever. As they say, what you get used to becomes second nature to you instantly. All of last week's events floated before my eyes. Did I really want to stay there so badly? It was just 1 week enough for me to get used to older meet you ever picking me on me all the time. I was break and joking around. This is cheekiness and mockery. I had no answer to this question, but it's obvious I did already miss it.
Skipping at the wrong time.
Although I'm sure I'll never return there. Obviously, I can't tell whether the force that brought me there might want to entertain itself again and again. It is possible, but for now, I have what I have, an adventure that I'll remember the rest of my life. Damn it, how many people get to experience something like that? Even books, even dreams about such things are unthinkable. The main thing is that it wasn't for Dr. Moreau's Evil Island, a normal Soviet pioneer camp with normal pioneers, and its commonness was overlaid by astonishing origin of my arrival there. Anyway, it wasn't my worst experience of my life. Perhaps it was one of the best. Obviously said that everything just ended halfway through, but every story has an end. It's good that it ended that way. Who knows what else could have happened?
Yeah, I don't think it's quite over. Now we get the blue text box.
Playing past events that took place in the cabin, I've seen more like fascinating novel I once read. No, I haven't forgotten them. I can recall the finest detail. I remember how the child used to lie in the blink of a flashlight every fast like a little fuzzy dream without dawn. Sometimes I was unable to go to school. My parents always used to scold me for that, but then every night approaching, I was careful to turn every page I exhorted me. I need that story. I still have feelings about the pioneer camp reality if I consider it. That would seem more like a book. It didn't look as bad at all in the end. The main thing to remember is not a poem, but you may take a form of the slideshow, poem, video, or audio. Each supposed made me feel fear and hope. First, I struggled around the fourth time moving purpose. Several times I fell asleep in the same seat, but nothing happened, not even a trace of something supernatural. As times went by, I stopped at these idle trips. So something changed my life. I just wouldn't do otherwise. A couple of weeks later, after my return to the camp, I took out my guitar. That was lying lonely and gathering dust in the corner. Striking a couple of chords, I remembered Alisa, for her image was inseparable from this instrument. At first, it didn't work out very well. Maybe I just had no talent for music. I started reading teach yourself books and watching video lessons. On the other hand, all the effort wasn't a burden anymore. Just play the chords and polish my skill. And that's it. Any kind of activity, including music practice, makes perfect. About a half a year later, I realized I achieved some results. At least I could now smoothly play parts of my favorite songs. Satisfied with my progress, I put a couple of advertisements on music forums intending to form my own band. I still had no idea with what kind of music I wanted to play. My taste varied from something really heavy to anime soundtracks. At first, it seemed impossible to me. I would have communicated with strangers. What if they're just too different? And anyway, how do I explain to others what music I want to make? It all worked out much easier. The potential candidates turned out to be not so frightening, and our tastes were mostly the same. After all, we shared the same goals. The issue stemming from the lack of understanding could be resolved. As soon as we had a band, suddenly I discovered my talent as a composer. Having spent entire days and nights on the note editor and sequencers, I started composing okay-ish things, at least in the opinions of other band members and pals I showed my songs to. Quite soon we gave our first concert, a D-list club not significantly more spacious than my bedroom. 3.5 viewers were exactly sober. I was hellishly anxious and the sound equipment was constantly malfunctioning, but all of that didn't bother me because I was happy. Since this was just the first step to success. However, it was a long time before we were invited again. With great difficulty, we managed to record 3 tracks and publish them on the internet. The reviews were far from ecstatic, but it didn't bother me much. It was just the beginning. Maybe some consider our music to be a leisure activity or a brief fixation, but for me it was serious. After all, it was me who founded the band and the music was mine as well. I felt a personal responsibility for the fate of my creation. Every spare moment I spent on improving my performance technique, and after a year I could already confidently say that I wasn't the worst guitarist in the world. Then some sort of popularity came. We were giving concerts almost every week, and we were finally getting paid. It wasn't important that it was just 500 rubles per band. The fact that our work was in demand and someone was ready to pay for it, even though we were usually warm up for the bands, was what mattered. I was sitting before my monitor, torturing a guitar. The date of an upcoming concert was thickly circled on the computer desktop calendar. The very thought gave goosebumps. It was the first time with the headliners, and we'll have an album presentation as well. I wonder how many discs will be sold. Of course, the CD era is already over, but there are still some who appreciate it, and maybe some will buy it just to support the band. I look at the date once more. Yes, it is exactly a year since I returned from Sovianok. My smile reflected in the darkened monitor screen. I wonder whether Alisa would like my music if she existed in this world. Don't think so. She prefers Soviet rock classics, but who knows?
How do you know that?
I played a couple of complicated guitar parts and concluded with a feeling of satisfaction. The sound of my guitar surpasses by far that of the Soviet oral guitars, and my skill has overcome that of the guitars of the same era. I wonder whether I would have achieved all this without those fantastic events. Unlikely. Nothing strange about that. Lots of people rethink their life after stepping close to the edge. Sure, nothing dangerous happened back then, but a psychological shock is a good substitute for a grave danger. I rehearsed my part once more, put the guitar into the case, packed all my stuff, and headed to the exit.
Oh, no.
It was cold outside, just like that day. Slowly, I approached the bus stop for 410. Such a coincidence, I am going to the club on this very same bus. With a sinking heart, I counted down the seconds. Soon the bus arrived. It idly opened the doors and swallowed up a few passengers.
Hey, that's new.
It was a winter night, just like back then. Cars flashed by outside with their headlights igniting the city as it got ready to sleep. The closer we got to the downtown area, more people were there in the streets. Some of them were chatting merrily. Some were perusing magnificent boutique windows. Some were hurrying somewhere, paying no attention to anything. This day, I had no wish to return back to that camp.
You're slowing down.
Any other time, maybe, but not today. It's slowing down because I'm tired?
Yeah, you're like.
All right, take over.
I must play the concert and rest can go to hell. I had a clear aim and nothing else mattered. Yeah. Well, do you think she's going to be at the concert? The club was considerably bigger than the one.
That'd be great.
The only place it was empty. I was waiting for her to show up in the real world, but this is a good place. Not the bus stop. The sound check was going on. I couldn't hear the drums through the monitor loudspeaker, which I desperately tried to do with the sound guy about sound tuned, gadgets installed, set list all prepared, ready to rock. But this is a special day. We are not going to do the warm up. The other guys are doing the warm up before our concert. Thus, our entrance is last. As I listened to the first band, I noticed that they have a lot of improving to do. On the other hand, we were no better not so long ago. As the time got closer to the start of our performance, my attention grew enormous. Come on, I was literally shaking with my anxiety. I decided not to listen to the other band and to wait calmly in the dressing room. Judging by the expressions, my mates were in the same mood. We were silent. Actually, we had nothing to talk about. Our parts were learned and performed a long time ago. Our nervousness could hinder us, but we already had some experience, so everything will be fine. At least I confronted myself with this thought. Now, that bottom picture, I think, is a real photograph that they put filter on. Yeah. And now finally the time has come. I don't remember how we entered the stage or greeted the audience. My consciousness turned from one of our first chords and on our first song from our speakers. While sitting in the makeup room, I desperately tried to warm my ice cold fingers, but now they ran from a string to string without the slightest mistake, and they were charmed. A thought flashed across my mind. Why did I still make a single mistake? When I played all these parts at home during these rehearsals, I never thought about it. Everything seemed to matter, of course, but now when I stood in front of the audience, it felt different. Somewhere deep in my mind, there was a thought that soon my finger would slip, and thank goodness the thinking didn't interfere with my playing. Our performance was nearing the end, and now it was time for the difficult solo I'd been learning for so long. At that point, my nervousness had vanished, and I played through it perfectly, even better than during the rehearsals. Finally, our performance was over, and the Kernstown Hall bustled with us. I smiled awkwardly, at least I thought so, and bowed several times to the last of our band. They shouted encore to us, without them shouting. Yeah. I saw you eyeing us, your tail, like, I can push a button. Euphoria prevailed in the dressing room as we congratulated and hugged each other. The sounds of the big champagne like in the house. I don't just live in soulless, maybe even happy. It's impossible to predict the future of our band and the whole world of fair music. But one thing is clear, I finally found something I'm interested in in my life to. As well as that, I can see it may be able to people that haven't seen. I was probably not the heaviest man on earth. At least it was surely the best moment of my life. The club was empty, instruments are packed, and I am waiting for others to go home. All right, here she is.
Hey.
I turned around and saw a girl standing nearby. Her tone wasn't too polite, but it wasn't hostile either.
I liked your performance.
Thanks. The darkness of the club prevented me from clearly seeing her face, but I was sure that it was extremely familiar to me. And you, I stepped forward. Exactly. It was Alisa. I froze on the spot, unable to speak.
What about me?
Nothing. I just thought I'd seen you somewhere. I decided to jump to her with the conclusions about the binary camp. After all, it's possible this girl merely looks like it or something like that. Anyway, it was obvious that she was seeing me for the first time, or at least she was pretending to.
Well, generally it's true.
She peered. My name's Semyon. Forcing an artificial smile, I offered my hand.
I actually know that.
How?
Read it on the internet.
Yes, of course. And you are?
Alyssa.
She replied somewhat confusedly. So I was right, but how was I? Listen, did you ever go to Pioneer Camp as a child?
No. Why are you asking?
Just, it seemed like I'd met you there.
How could you have met me there if I've never been there?
She laughed.
Yes, all you musicians are somehow strange.
No doubt.
Well, I just wanted to say that your music is not too bad.
Alyssa turned to leave. I felt that I need to say something. Will you come to our next concert?
When?
To be honest, I had no idea myself. Soon.
Yes, maybe. Send me a message.
Yeah, sure. We shared our contact details with each other.
Then I'll see you again, probably.
She waved her hand and went out. Obviously, I had no idea if she was that very same Alyssa. I saw it coming because I can see it, but if I hadn't seen it coming, it would have been a lot funnier. Like, ah! Obviously, I had no idea she was camp. Any number of theories, novel thought, but at least in that moment, that was the last thing that concerned me. I was filled with my emotions, both at the concert and meeting Alyssa. After all, nothing's preventing me from calling her, and then we'll see. I smiled, shouldered my guitar, and started walking to 410 bus with my mates.
Hey, it's you again.
And no, like then Lena shows up.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Alyssa gets mad at you even though she doesn't know who you are.
Another
Just,
conflict,
it all
yeah.
happens all over again.
Pick up, girl.
That's stupid. Every story has... Oh, this. Can I skip this? This is what that always ends with. Yes. We did it!
Hey! Yes.
And by it, I mean Alyssa.
We did.
Just hitting all the buttons.
Stupid. All right.
All right, well...
We can either... Are you letting this play through, I guess? We don't have to.
What?
Oh, my.
What? What's the question?
Oh, I was just asking for watching this whole thing.
Oh, no,
or we're
sorry.
just done.
The episode's over. You guys can all go home. You can go home if you want.
Okay, go have fun, everybody. If you enjoyed yourself, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
No.
Everybody smash the like button.
Sorry, I'm being annoying.
All
See you
right.
next time.
Bye.
Oh, I don't have to stop it.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. But go ahead and hit the laugh button.